Hello and welcome back to British Accent Podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Nick. Today's topic is something really simple but super useful, talking about your daily routine in English.
Right, because describing your routine is one of the easiest ways to practice English every day. You don't need fancy grammar. You just talk about what you do, morning, afternoon, evening.
Exactly. And it's not just for practice. When you meet new people, especially in a language exchange or in a class, people often ask, "So, what's your typical day like?"
And it's good to be ready for that. So, Nick, shall we share an example first?
Sure. I'll keep it simple. I might say, I usually wake up at 7. I have a quick breakfast, usually just tea and toast. Then I start work around 9. I finish work at 5, go for a walk, have dinner, and relax with a bit of TV before bed.
That's a solid example. Nothing too long, just a clear idea of your routine.
Exactly. And it's all in the present simple tense. I wake up, I eat, I go. Simple but clear.
That's the key, isn't it? Using present simple tense when you describe your routine. It's not, I am waking up, it's I wake up.
Yes, very true. And if you want to add a bit more detail, you can say things like, sometimes I, or usually I, or I always. It makes it sound more natural.
Let me share mine now. I get up around 8. I make coffee first, that's always my first step. Then I check my emails, go for a short run if I have time, and get started on my work. I usually finish in the late afternoon. In the evening, I cook dinner, listen to music, and read before bed.
That's great. And notice how both of us kept it very normal, nothing fancy, just regular things we do.
Exactly. And if you're learning English, this is a perfect thing to practice on your own. You can write down your routine, then read it out loud until it feels smooth.
Or you can record yourself on your phone and listen back. That's a really good way to hear where you might want to adjust your pronunciation or rhythm.
Definitely. And you don't have to say the exact same thing every time. Some days you might add, today I went to the gym, or today I stayed home. It can change depending on your mood.
And that actually makes it feel more natural, doesn't it? You're not memorizing a script, you're just describing real life.
Right? And even if your routine is simple, like, I wake up, I eat breakfast, I study English, that's already useful practice.
And every time you say it, you're training your brain to think in English more easily.
And honestly, repeating that kind of simple sentence structure really helps. It's like training your mouth and your brain at the same time. Things like I wake up, I go, I have, just becoming automatic.
And once that feels automatic, it's much easier to add little extras. Like, I usually have coffee, but today I had tea instead. Small changes like that make it feel more real, more like a proper conversation.
That's true. And I think a lot of people forget. It doesn't have to be about saying something really interesting or unique. The point is, you're practicing how to say ordinary things clearly.
Exactly. Because everyday English is full of those ordinary phrases. If you get really comfortable with them, it makes the harder stuff feel less scary later on.
And another tip, don't worry too much about perfect grammar while you're speaking. It's more important that it feels natural and relaxed.
Yes, I always say that too. Focus first on fluency, just getting the words out, and worry about polishing things up later.
And when you keep practicing your daily routine out loud like that, you also start noticing what words or phrases you don't know yet. Maybe you realize, oh, I don't know how to say I brush my teeth, or I check my messages.
That's a really good point. It helps you find the gaps in your vocabulary naturally, just by trying to describe real things from your life.
And once you find those gaps, you can look them up, learn them, and then add them into your routine next time you practice. It's a really simple system.
Yeah, No complicated grammar books needed. Just you, your routine, and a little bit of curiosity.
Another thing I like to do, when I'm learning a new language, is write out my daily routine in the morning as a warm-up. Just a couple of sentences, nothing big, but it helps get my brain into language mode for the day.
That's a nice idea. Sort of like stretching before exercise, but for your English.
Exactly like that. It doesn't take long, but it sets the tone.
And it's also useful if you're planning to join a conversation class or a language exchange. You already have something easy to say. Today I woke up at 7, then I.
Yes, especially if you feel nervous about what to say. Starting with your routine is always a safe first topic.
And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. One day you're reading it from a notebook, and a few weeks later you're just saying it without even thinking.
And honestly, that's such a satisfying feeling, when the words come out smoothly, and you don't have to pause and search for them.
It's like building muscle memory, isn't it? You don't need to consciously think, okay, present simple tense now. You just say it.
Exactly. And once you're comfortable talking about your daily routine, it opens the door to talking about other things, like your weekend plans, or what you did yesterday.
Right. It's really all connected. Practicing one kind of sentence helps with the next.
And one more thing, if you're listening to this and thinking, but my routine is so boring, don't worry about that. The point isn't to entertain someone, it's to get fluent, little by little.
Completely agree. You're not writing a novel. You're just describing life. And life isn't always fireworks, sometimes it's tea and toast.
Which, by the way, is very British.
Very British indeed.
So, really, if you can say things like I get up at 7, I have tea, I go to work, you're already building a real skill. That's not basic, that's useful English that fits into real life.
And if you're just starting out, keep it even shorter. Maybe just 3 or 4 sentences to begin with. Then as you get more confident, add more detail, like what you eat, what music you listen to, how you relax.
Yeah, little by little. And another idea, sometimes, I change the order of things on purpose when I practice. So instead of always starting with waking up, I might say, in the evening, I usually cook dinner. Just to mix things up a bit.
That's a good trick, actually. Keeps your brain alert. Make sure you're not just memorizing a script, but really learning how to describe your life.
Exactly. And that's the goal with this kind of practice. You want to feel free to say things in different ways, not stuck to one exact sentence every time.
And honestly, once you get into the habit of doing this, maybe once a day, or even a few times a week, you'll notice your speaking speed getting better without even trying too hard.
Because the more familiar those words and patterns are, the faster they come out. You're not stopping to think, what's the word for breakfast? You just say it.
And that's really what fluency is. Not being perfect, but being able to say what you mean without freezing up.
Right? It's that smooth, steady feeling, where the words are there when you need them. Even if it's just about making tea, or brushing your teeth, that kind of everyday English is honestly where it all begins.
And if you ever feel stuck, just remind yourself it's okay to pause. Even native speakers pause when they talk about simple things. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong.
Definitely. Sometimes it's not about how quickly you speak, but how clearly and calmly you can express yourself.
And if you keep practicing describing your daily routine, you'll find yourself naturally adding things like times, at 7, around 8, or words like sometimes, or usually. That just happens with time.
You'll also get used to connecting sentences, right? Like instead of saying everything in one short sentence, I wake up. I eat. I go to work. You'll start saying, I wake up at 7, then I have breakfast before I start work.
Exactly. You start building those linking phrases. It's a really nice step forward once that starts happening without you even noticing.
And all from just practicing the basics, like your routine. It's simple, but it works.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people underestimate how powerful those small steps are. Saying things like, I wake up at 7, or I have coffee in the morning, that's the real stuff of everyday conversations.
And not just in English classes either. If you ever visit an English-speaking country, that's exactly the kind of thing people talk about at work, in cafes, wherever.
You're right. It's always those casual little questions, what time do you usually get up, or what do you do after work? And if you're used to answering that in English, it takes away a lot of that awkward hesitation.
It really does. And when you get comfortable saying these things out loud, it also makes listening easier, because your brain's already familiar with the patterns.
True. Once you've said it enough times yourself, it's easier to catch it when someone else says it. It's like training both your speaking and listening skills at the same time.
And just to say again, it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to sound like something from a textbook. Real life isn't textbook English anyway.
That's exactly it. Real life is saying, oh, I woke up a bit late today, or I made pasta for dinner. Things like that. Honest, everyday English.
And the nice thing is, the more relaxed you get with this kind of practice, the more natural it'll feel when you're in real conversations with other people.
That's the real goal, isn't it? Feeling like you can just chat without overthinking.
Exactly. And even if English isn't perfect, the other person usually understands. Nobody's expecting perfect grammar in everyday chats. They just want to know what's up with you.
And it's funny, the more you accept that small mistakes are part of the process, the easier it gets to keep going. You don't freeze up as much because you're not chasing perfection all the time.
That's so true. It becomes more about sharing your life, not testing yourself. Saying, I went for a walk this morning, or I had rice for lunch. That's it.
And as long as you can express yourself, that's a win. Whether it's a simple sentence or a longer one, as long as you're saying something real, you're making progress.
So next time you're sitting there thinking, what should I practice today? Maybe just talk through your routine out loud for a few minutes. No pressure, no script. Just real life in English.
Exactly. Doesn't get simpler than that.
All right, I think we'll leave it there for today. Hopefully, this chat gave you a simple, gentle reminder that practicing English really can start with the smallest things, like just talking about your day.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Keep it casual, keep it steady, and let it grow naturally from there. Thanks for spending some time with us again today.
This has been the British Accent Podcast. Take care, and we'll catch you in the next episode.